Even if you are not someone who thinks you will ever identify as a morning person, I am still confident that you can create a morning routine that will serve you for as long as you are willing to follow through with that routine. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to get to talk to you about morning routines. If you know me whatsoever or follow me on Instagram, I love mornings. I'm a morning person. I have been my entire life, but I have good news for you. Don't click out of this video yet. There is hope for you. So today we are going to talk all about creating that morning routine and then how to stick with it. So the point is not to create this beautiful routine, follow it for a week or two, and then go back to your old ways. The point of this is to create a routine that's going to serve you in your everyday life and that's going to set you up for success so that you have an opportunity to start your day in the best possible way, put your best foot forward, all the things. So let's get into it. First and foremost, you do not need to be a morning person to have a morning routine. Let's make that very clear. I'm the type of person that I wake up and I'm ready for the day. Like, I love mornings. They're my favorite time of day to get things accomplished, to be efficient, to be productive, to be organized, all of that. But there are other people that wake up and they want nothing to do with any of that. They may thrive later in the day. They may thrive in the evenings, the late hours of the night. That's not me. But I want you to know that you can still have a solid morning routine, because the beauty of a morning routine is a morning routine doesn't have to be at the crack of dawn. A morning routine could be at 10 a.m. It could be at 11 a.m. I follow my personal morning routine regardless of what time of day I wake up. Some mornings I wake up at 3:30 in the morning and I follow the morning routine. Other days I let myself sleep in. On the weekends I tend to sleep in. I still follow that same morning routine because that morning routine, the purpose of it is that it sets me up for success. It puts me in a great mindset so that I can go through the rest of my day having filled my own cup before I'm pouring into others, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy, and so that's why I'm so passionate about it and I want to share it with you. So I actually do have, let me get them. So I actually have two book recommendations for you. One of them is The Miracle Morning. It's a pretty short read. Let's see, 135 pages. It is a great book. Now, I am someone who I'm big on personal development. I'm big on fueling my mind, just like I am big on fueling my body with things that help it thrive. Same thing goes for my mind. I like to fuel my mind with things that are going to help it thrive. And I was already a morning person and still got so much out of this book. But anyone that I've ever recommended The Miracle Morning to that was a morning person or wasn't a morning person, but that was interested in creating a morning routine, they got a lot of value out of this book. So I have it linked below in the comments, so feel free to click on that and check that out. I have read this physically, but I've also listened to it. I use the Audible app. I love Audible for books. I have listened to this on Audible and I have read this hard copy. So this is a great book that I would highly recommend if you are someone that's serious about creating a morning routine in your everyday life. And the tips that I'm going to share with you today actually aren't necessarily from this, but this would be a great addition to have both of these together. The other book that I would recommend is called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. I don't have the physical copy. I have only listened to that one on Audible, but I have listened to it 2 times, maybe 3 times at this point. It's just like it sounds, the 5-second rule. You count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just take action on whatever it is that you haven't been taking action with. So for example, in this specific video, how we're going to be applying it is when your alarm goes off. I don't want to get up. I want to stay in my warm, cozy bed. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get your booty out of bed and let's get to that morning routine that we've taken the time to create with the whole purpose of setting ourselves up for success. So I do want to point out, and we'll get into this a little bit more in just a bit, but the key to a morning routine is finding a reason that you're even up in the first place. If you don't have a reason that's important enough to you to get out of bed, you're not going to get out of bed. It's truly that simple. So like I said, we'll dive further into that, but just keep that in mind. Having a morning routine needs to have a purpose. Just like as humans, I feel like most things we do in life, we do it because it has a purpose. This is no different. Okay, I have to touch on this one, and nothing. I'm telling y'all, this is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to talking about mornings, morning routines, morning people, all the things. Like, the biggest eye roll is when people tell me they just love their sleep too much. I need to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I don't like mornings because I hate sleep. Like, that doesn't even make sense in my brain. I love sleep so very much, truly. And there are many mornings that I don't feel like getting out of bed. but knowing that my morning routine supports me, knowing that that morning routine is going to help me throughout the rest of my day, and I'm gonna be so thankful that I got up and just did it, that's what gets me out of bed, not the fact that I hate sleep. So let's just go ahead and just cover the fact that we all love sleep. There's no person that loves sleep more than another person, I promise you. I go to bed plenty early, which is how I get my sleep in. Might be a recommendation for you, because if you're staying up until midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning, getting up in the mornings probably is really hard for you. So that might be something that you may have to think about. But another point that I wanna make, morning routines can be 5 minutes. They could be up to 3 hours, they could be longer. It's up to you how long that actual morning routine is. And in this book, The Miracle Morning, he does actually go into how short a morning routine can be. You could do 1 minute for each of the things that he recommends. I'll let you read that to dive more into that. But your morning routine could be as simple as waking up and just sitting down with coffee and like reading a book. You could do that for 30 minutes. That could be your morning routine, having some quiet before the storm of the day starts. Or you could have a jam-packed morning routine, which is what I like to do, and you could get a workout in and get completely ready for the day and get some work done and read your Bible and have some water and eat your breakfast and all of that before the rest of your house is even awake for the day. You've already accomplished so many things. And if you're competitive at all, it feels really good to know that you have accomplished so much when people are still sleeping, when most of the world hasn't even gotten out of bed yet. When you have beat the sun up because you've already accomplished so many things and the sun hasn't even gotten out of bed yet. You know what I mean? So don't be overwhelmed by the idea of a morning routine, that it has to look just like somebody else's, that it has to look like mine, anything like that. But instead, just think of what would you like to accomplish in a morning, and then that is going to be what drives your morning routine specifically. So to help you with this, we are going to go through 5 different steps of what I think are the key things in helping you create the morning routine that you're after. Okay, number 1, why are you even interested in a morning routine? If you clicked on this video, if you're still here watching this video, I would assume it's because you have an interest in creating a morning routine in your everyday life. But the key and the number 1 part of all of this is that we've got to figure out why you even want one in the first place. Are your mornings so rushed and you're just so tired of feeling stressed and anxious and you're late to work every day or whatever that might be? Are you just over that and you know that something has to change? Otherwise, it's just going to get worse and worse. Maybe you're getting in fights with your kids or your spouse every single day, and you know that if you would just get up a little bit earlier, you all wouldn't be running like crazy people around the house trying to get out the door on time so that you aren't late yet again. Or maybe you are someone who is looking to add a health journey. Maybe you're looking to add in a workout program. You want to start focusing on your health again. And so you're thinking, you know what? I know it's going to need to happen in the morning because the evenings are just too unpredictable, or we have games that we're going to, or I often work late, or I'm usually just so exhausted by the end of the day. The last thing I'm going to want to do is get a workout in. So you're like, okay, I know it needs to happen in the morning. So I need to create some sort of a morning routine. Now, if you're someone who's brand new to working out, it's very unlikely that the workout itself is going to be your why. It's going to be real easy when that alarm goes off in the morning for you to just be like, I don't really want to, I'll do it later. And then you won't actually do it later. I used to be guilty of this. I would say, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it after work. I would come home from a full day of school and I would be like, oh no, I haven't done my workout. 9 times out of 10, I just still didn't do the workout. But then I would be so frustrated with myself that I skipped when I should have just gotten up. Because what I've also found is when I crush that workout first thing in the day, I feel so much better the rest of the day. So no matter what your reasoning might be, the key in creating your morning routine is figuring out why you want to do this in the first place. Because if you do not have a strong enough why, the rest of it's going to be pointless, because you're not going to physically get out of the bed each morning until you physically have to, and you're just going to stick with the current routine that you've already had. So for example, a lot of people, this used to be me, I would get out of bed at the very last possible moment that I had to so that I could shower really quick, get ready, sometimes not shower at all, get ready really quick, get out the door, and be just perfectly on time for work, where I was almost late, but not quite late. That used to be my mornings. Rushed, stressed, anxious. It was terrible. I didn't enjoy those at all. And I was a morning person who enjoyed mornings, and I started to realize, like, I don't want every day to start that way, because when it starts that way, it tends to only get worse. It was really, really hard for those days that started rushed and stressed and anxious. It was hard for those to turn around and get better. Because oftentimes when we show up to work, We're dealing with problems, we're dealing with issues, we're dealing with things that we have to now go fix. And when you're in a negative mindset, the last thing you want to do is fix somebody else's problem. A lot of us work in customer service. Teaching is a customer service job. You are working, your little customers are your little students, so you are working with them. But if you start out in a really stressed out mood, it's only gonna continue the rest of the day because everything those kids do are gonna get on your nerves. Every single person that comes into or calls your office, the moment the phone rings, you're gonna be annoyed. So think of a why that's actually going to matter to you, and we're gonna get into the other steps of how we can kind of dig deeper in that. So step 2, what matters enough to get you out of bed? Like I said earlier, it's probably not the workout. It's probably not like, oh my gosh, I love this workout program so much. Especially if you start a new workout program, you're probably gonna be really sore. And by day 3, really, really sore. Day 4, you're just gonna be like, I'm so sore I can't even get out of bed, let alone do a workout. I'm not gonna do that. That's not gonna be motivating enough to get you out of bed. So it's probably going to have to come back to, I'm tired of being stressed. I'm tired of being late. I'm tired of getting in fights with my spouse or my kids every single day. So what matters enough for you to get out of bed is probably what you don't want. So you don't want to be late anymore. You don't want to get in a fight with your spouse or kids. You don't want to be stressed. You don't want to feel anxious. You do want to feel happy. You do want to feel calm, and maybe a slow morning would be ideal for you. Maybe you love to read fiction and you just don't have time to read fiction in your everyday life anymore, and you love to drink coffee, but you never get to just sit and drink coffee. What a cool morning routine would be just to wake up 30 minutes earlier so you could go sit down, drink some coffee, and read fiction every single morning. Like, that sounds glorious. I don't know about you, but that sounds wonderful. And maybe fiction isn't your jam. Maybe coffee's not your jam, but figure out something that sounds glorious for your morning routine that's gonna make you be like, oh my gosh, I did that. And now I feel ready to take on the rest of this day no matter what's thrown at me, because I filled my own cup first before I went out and started pouring into others. I'm sure you've heard this phrase. It's really, really hard to pour from an empty cup. Step number 3, we're gonna take some time and picture our perfect routine. So we kind of started to get into this, but I really wanna ask you, like, if you picture a morning and you picture it going perfectly, but in the life that you live now, like, we're not creating some fantasy life, like your current life, what would a great morning be for you? Describe it. Think about it. What would it feel like? Would you wake up an hour before everyone else in your house is awake so that you can just have the house to yourself? You don't have to hear anybody. You don't have to help anybody. You don't have to do anything for anyone else. You just have that time to yourself where you get to focus on you and what it is that you want to do. Maybe you read your devotional. Maybe you drink some coffee. Maybe you get a workout in. Maybe you take a nice long hot shower without having to worry about the kiddos coming after you or calling your name in the other room. Think about what your perfect routine would look like. If you have goals that are health and fitness related, maybe your morning routine is going to include a workout. Even though you may not love the idea of the workout, but you know that that's what you want to do in order to achieve the goals that you're after. So your routine might include that. So even though it may not be perfect in the sense that you're like, well, I don't want to work out, so that's not going to be included in my perfect routine. However, I do want to reach my goals, so that being a part of my routine is probably going to need to be in there. I want you to take some time and just kind of start listing out what a morning routine that you enjoy would look like. I recommend doing something that is just for you, 100% for you. So I don't want your morning routine to be like, oh, I gotta wake up early so that I can check all my kids' homework and I can pack all of their bags and I can do all of those things. Now, you absolutely can add that into your routine, but I don't want that to be the only part of your routine. I want you to make sure that you're including something that is for you. Because if it's your perfect morning routine, then you need to love it. So what are you gonna love about it? Maybe you love packing your kids' backpacks and packing their lunches and all of that. I think that's great, and that should absolutely be a part of it because you're probably gonna need to do that anyway, right? So scheduling that in is good. But think of some things that you want for you. Maybe it's something you haven't done in a long time. Maybe you have a stationary bike and you're like, you know what? I just wanna hop on that bike and I wanna ride for 20 minutes a day and watch a TV show. Maybe you don't get a chance to watch any of your TV shows anymore because you always got the kids shows on, or your husband or whoever is always watching whatever they want to watch, and you never get to watch your shows. So maybe 20 minutes a day you're hopping on the bike, so you're getting some movement in, you're getting some endorphins flowing, but you're also getting to watch a TV show. That would be cool. Like, your morning routine needs to be whatever you would like for it to be. So I cannot stress enough, please do not compare your morning routine to anyone else's, because it's yours and you should be doing what you want to do in your routine. All right, now let's talk about scheduling this morning routine. This isn't to be like, oh, drill sergeant, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. But instead, the point of this is just to kind of give you a roundabout time of when things need to be done by so that you can get everything accomplished in the morning routine that you've created. So we've taken some time to figure out why we even want to do this, what it is that's going to actually get us out of bed. We've taken some time to think about your perfect routine and what that's going to look like and entail. So now we're going to take some time and we're going to schedule it out. My tip with this is think about, for example, what time you need to leave your house or what time you need to get the kids on the bus or whatever that might look like for you. The last moment that you can be leaving your house in order to get to work on time or get to work early or whatever. Again, this is your perfect morning routine. Working yourself backwards is what helps you really take the time to plan and think through, how long does this take? Another thing, it's okay to build in some buffer time. How nice would it be to have some extra time versus running out of time? Because running out of time is where that stress comes in. That's where that anxiety comes in. That's where the fights with the spouse, the fights with the kids, all of that starts to come in, is when we're running out of time. But having extra time, maybe you get to sit down and read a book with your kiddo. Maybe you get to practice their spelling words. Maybe you are practicing a presentation that you have to give for the day. Maybe you have some time to sit down and just sip on your coffee for a little bit. You know, whatever that might be. You now have so clear, you know exactly what's gonna happen and about what time it needs to start. Again, this is not about being like to the T, must start at the exact time, but it's more about knowing, okay, as long as I can get my workout started around 5:10 to 5:15, I've got time. As long as I can be getting in the shower about 5:45, I've got time. Maybe you're running a little late one morning. Well, you just know, okay, I have to take a quick shower today. So it's giving you a framework to work with so that you know exactly what you can do and what you can't do. So having something like this, helping give you an idea of what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish, it's a game changer. Morning routines for me are all about getting in the things that I want to get in, but I don't want to feel rushed doing them. So giving myself 15 more minutes, I promise you, 15 minutes is not going to be that big of a deal in your sleep. 15 more minutes of sleep to cause a rushed morning is not worth it, in my opinion. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, truly enjoy that unrushed morning, and watch the rest of your day absolutely flourish. Okay, my final tip with this is trial and error. If you are someone that is new to morning routines, I want you to know you're probably gonna fail a couple of times, a lot of times. You're not gonna crush it day one, you're not gonna crush it week one, you're probably not even gonna crush it completely for month one. But I promise you, if you stick with it and you keep trying, you will find a routine that works for you. You may sit down, you may list all this out, you may put in all of your times, and you may find that that does not work for you. Maybe you end up with way too much time and you're like, this is not gonna work, I could have gotten more sleep. Or maybe you realize I didn't schedule enough time. I didn't include enough buffer time in there. I was pressed to get all of those things done. I didn't realize how long this little thing took or this little thing took. Maybe you take longer to get ready than you realize because you've been crunching it and trying to rush through it for so long that now you're like, you know what, in this routine, I want to take my time getting ready. I want to actually fix my hair instead of throwing it in a bun. I want to do some of those things, and those actually take a little bit longer than I remembered. So take some time. Maybe you try day one and you're like, that did not work and I hated this part of it. Take it out for day two. Don't do something that you hate. If it doesn't bring you joy, that's not the point, because guess what? Going back to tip number 2, it's not gonna get you out of bed if you hated it. But if you felt incredible going through your morning routine, you're gonna be more excited to wake up the next day and do it again and again and again and again. So trial and error through this process is so, so important. Figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. You may find that, you know what, I wanna add something else in, or I wanna do this, or I wanna do that. You may change up how you do it. However that is, don't let one bad day of a morning routine take you from, I can do this, to, oh, I guess it's just not meant for me. I knew I wasn't a morning person anyway, so why did I even think this would work? No. Understand going into this that there's going to be some trial and error, and be okay with that. Be honest with yourself that anything new that we try, we're not good at it first. We're just not. So this is going to be the same way. So don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some credit. Give yourself a chance to try and to learn and to grow through this. And then keep in mind too, it doesn't have to be super long. It doesn't have to be super short, but what it needs to be is something that is for you and that is motivating and something that you actually enjoy doing and helps set the rest of your day up for success. The point of a morning routine is to help you have a more successful day by starting your day in a great way. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've gone through the 5 steps that I think are the most important in helping you create a routine. Your why you want to do this in the first place. 2, what's going to actually get you out of bed. We've got to figure out that why so that we can know what's actually going to get us out of bed. 3, your picture perfect routine. Think through what you actually want out of this routine. 4, scheduling it. We're gonna work backwards. We're gonna schedule things in based on how much time we think they're going to take. And then 5, of course, is trial and error. You might have thought something was gonna take a certain amount of time and it ends up taking a different amount of time. So adjust. Go back to the drawing board. You have the capability to do that. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you are now someone who's at least considering creating a morning routine. And I also want you to know that I am here to help. I would love to chat with you more about this. Comment below if you have more questions, more specific questions about morning routines. I'd be happy to create another video that maybe goes into more detail if you want or need it. But more than anything, just know that you have the power to create a routine despite if you've ever considered yourself a morning person or not. Morning people are not the only people that have morning routines, I promise you. There are so many people that I know and work with who are not morning people. They are the self-proclaimed night owls, but they still crush their morning routines because they found a why that mattered to them enough to get their booties out of bed in the morning. And I know that you can do this too. So if you enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like because that lets me know that this is something that you like and you want to see more like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and just know that I am so thankful you're here. I am loving this journey here on YouTube and you are a part of that, and I just appreciate it more than you know. And on that note, I will see you in the next one.